Okay, so let's talk about that feeling. You know the one. You're just constantly swimming, your inbox is a flood, the calendar's jammed, meetings back to back, and the to-do list. It just keeps getting longer, right? Even when you're ticking things off like crazy. You're busy. Everyone can see you're busy. But then, maybe at the end of the day, you kind of stop and think, did I actually move the needle on anything important? Did any of that matter? It's a really common struggle, I think, especially now. So today, we're going to dive deep into an idea that honestly turns all that on its head. Okay, let's unpack this. We're exploring Cal Newport's concept slow productivity. And it's a pretty radical challenge, isn't it, to this whole modern obsession with speed and output and just constant busyness.
It really is. And the core argument Newport makes, well, it's compelling. He says that real accomplishment, the stuff that actually lasts, it doesn't come from hustle. It doesn't come from volume. It actually needs slowness. It needs depth, real intention. So our mission here for this deep dive is to pull out the key insights, the real nuggets from his work, to help you, our listener, maybe start rethinking how you approach your work and honestly, your well-being too.
Right. So if slow productivity is the potential solution, what's the problem it's actually tackling? Newport calls it the productivity trap. Sounds familiar, right? It's this idea that modern work, well, it often rewards volume way more than value. There's just this huge pressure to be constantly doing something visible, answering emails immediately, showing up to every meeting, churning out stuff, almost like you're performing productivity. Whether or not it actually leads anywhere meaningful, Newport puts it really bluntly. He says, we are trained to be visible, not valuable.
Ouch. Yeah, ouch is right. And what's fascinating here is just how deep this myth of hustle culture runs. It's become almost the default setting. But the thing is, our brains, they just aren't wired for that kind of constant cognitive load. It's not how we do our best thinking. This whole idea of maximum output all the time, it's not just unsustainable, it's actually counterproductive. Really. It actively gets in the way of creative breakthroughs, those aha moments. And the kind of deep problem solving that really makes a difference. It's like trying to sprint a marathon,
Yeah.
just burn out.
Totally. And that ties right into what he calls the quantity illusion, doesn't it? We've sort of been trained to think productivity just means doing more. More tasks, check more boxes, like the sheer number proves something.
Exactly. But Newport flips that script. And this is, I think, a really crucial shift. He clarifies that true productivity, it isn't about the number of things crossed off a list. It's about doing the right things and doing them with real care, with focus. That single-minded attention, that's what leads to deeper impact, a more lasting impact. Which, raises an important question for you listening. How do you actually define productivity right now? Is it the volume or is it the value?
That's a really powerful question. Maybe a bit uncomfortable to really sit with. Okay, so if the current way is broken, how do we actually fix it? This is where, for me, it starts getting really interesting. Because Newport doesn't just point out the problem. He gives us these 3 core principles for slow productivity. And I'll admit, when I first read them, they felt like they went against everything I thought I knew about getting things done. So the first one, do fewer things. Sounds almost ridiculously simple, right? But the real power here isn't just, focus. It's about cutting out the drain of switching tasks all the time, the mental weight of having too many things open. It means figuring out that small handful of things that genuinely move the needle. And then being absolutely ruthless about saying no to the rest. The distractions, the extra projects that kind of creep in, the shallow stuff that just fills hours. Newport's equation is simple: focus, power.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's all about strategic focus. It's not just a nice idea. There's solid science behind it. Our brains genuinely aren't designed for multitasking. Studies show, it can slash your productivity, sometimes by up to 40%, and even temporarily lower your effective IQ. It's talking shocking. Think about really accomplished people, writers, researchers. They produce amazing work, not by juggling 20 things, but by picking one big problem, one core project, and just going deep on it for a long time. So practically, how do you start? Maybe list your top, say, 2 or 3 high-impact goals, be honest, then really scrutinize everything else, cut the low-impact stuff. And this is a great tip he offers. Use a not-doing list. Actually write down what you're choosing not to do. Keeps you honest.
Okay, so we're doing fewer things. That's step 1. But then there's the how. How do we actually approach the work we are doing? And that brings us to the second principle, which I think really challenges the grind culture. It's work at a natural pace. This one pushes back hard against that feeling that you have to be on all the time, pushing constantly. Newport says, look, life works in cycles, nature works in cycles, seasons. Productivity is like that too. Intense bursts are great, but they can't be constant. Taking breaks, pausing, even deliberately slowing down, that's not lazy, it's essential. It's how you sustain creativity and energy over the long haul.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how deeply counterintuitive that feels in our world today. We're so conditioned. Activity equals progress, like a hamster wheel. But yet, you look at truly creative people, artists, scientists, writers, they often have these periods, sometimes months, where it looks like nothing is happening externally. But that incubation time, that downtime, it's absolutely vital. It's where the breakthroughs happen later. It's like letting dough rise. You just can't rush it. So, action steps here. Maybe try thinking in seasons. Plan intense work sprints, but follow them with real rest periods. Build buffer time into your schedule. Don't pack it wall to wall. And even just small things. Quick mindfulness breaks, deep breathing. Just to reset during the day, it helps.
Right, so narrow the focus, find a sustainable rhythm. Got it. But what about the actual output, the quality of what we produce? That's where Newport's third principle comes in, and maybe it's the toughest one. Obsess over quality. This really fights against that default mode of just hitting the deadline, getting it shipped, moving on, fast delivery above all. Instead, it's about aiming for excellence. Focusing on fewer outputs, sure, but making them better. Things that are genuinely meaningful, useful, that last. Like Newport says, and I love this quote, "The world doesn't need more noise. It needs fewer things done better."
Precisely. And ultimately, your reputation, your own sense of satisfaction,
Yeah.
that comes from the depth and the impact of your work, not just how fast you've done it. Which brings up another question for you listening. How do you define success in your work right now? Is it speed and volume, or is it mastery and impact? To really lean into this, maybe try reframing success. Think mastery of a craft, not just task completion. Actively look for feedback. Use it to refine, to improve, and really embrace craftsmanship, doing things like they genuinely matter, because, well, they do.
Okay. So we get the problem, the trap. We have these three powerful principles. Do fewer things, work at a natural pace, obsess over quality. Now, the big question, how do we actually do this? How do we bring slow productivity into our messy, real-world daily lives? Because it sounds great, but living it, that's different. He suggests starting with redesigning your work week, actually blocking out time, like really guarding it for deep work. You know, that focused, uninterrupted concentration on something important, protecting your calendar from meetings that could be emails, shielding yourself from constant interruptions, and maybe being okay with looking less busy if it means you're actually producing results that matter more. And communication is key too, right? You have to set expectations, letting people know clearly that quality work takes time, and learning to say no, that's huge. Saying no without feeling guilty, but just being honest and clear about your priorities. People often respect that more than we think. And then finally, it's about systems, not just willpower, because willpower, well, it runs out. We all know that. Instead, you need to build systems that actively protect your ability to do deep, slow, quality work. Things like time blocking, yeah, but also maybe creating actual distraction-free zones or times. Using tools, sure, but using them strategically for prioritization, not just managing endless lists, like putting up shields, basically.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, these steps, they're not just isolated tactics. They work together. They build on each other. They create an environment, a structure that actually supports deep, high-quality work. It's intentional. These systems, they become your defense, your shield against that constant pull of the productivity trap. They let you focus on what actually creates lasting value.
It really boils down to Cal Newport's core message, doesn't it? It's simple, but it's so profound. It's worth saying again. You don't need to work faster. You need to work deeper. You don't need to do more. You need to do less better.
Absolutely. And the benefits, I mean, they're significant. You start to reclaim your attention, which feels amazing. You dramatically reduce the risk of burnout, and you end up producing work that you're actually proud of, work that really matters in the long run. It's a pathway to a much more sustainable and honestly fulfilling way to work.
So let's leave you with this thought. Thinking about that third principle, obsess over quality, and really embracing craftsmanship. What's one thing, just one area in your life or your work right now, that if you slowed down, if you approached it with real deep care, focused on excellence instead of just speed, what would happen? How would that outcome change? Maybe completely transform, something to think about. Maybe even start applying these ideas, even in a small way, today.